I love teaching about the law of attraction, but you don't know me. So I want to get kind of vulnerable here and tell you a little bit about me and my why. Hi, this is Beth McGill here, and this is Manifesting Your Heart's Desires. And I come on here every week because I love teaching about the law of attraction, and I want your desires to come true. I want your dreams to come true. I want you to be able to manifest anything that you desire. And so that's why I come on here. You know, I love teaching about the law of attraction, but you don't know me. So I want to get kind of vulnerable here and tell you a little bit about me and my why, and why I love teaching the law of attraction, and why I'm here doing what I do. I'll never forget one time I was at a Bob Proctor live event, and he said, never work with or never listen to someone unless they are healthier, wealthier, and happier than you. And I've always taken that to heart, because there's so many coaches, trainers, teachers out there that want you to give them your attention. But really, I have a filter. Are you happier, healthier, and wealthier than I am? If so, yes, I'll listen. And so I want to share a little bit more about me, not just my why, but that you understand who Beth is, and that you feel confident in listening to me, because I'm definitely a very happy person, living my life in joy. And I'm healthy. I work out every day. I'm like, today I surfed for an hour and a half. I surf and I hike and I bike and I go to the gym. So I'm constantly working out every day, honoring my physical body as well. And then wealthy. Yes, I have been blessed because I've learned about the law of attraction. I've learned how to get out of my own way. And that's why I'm here teaching. But again, I want to tell you a little bit more about me. So yes, today I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm an energy healer practitioner, which I absolutely love. I love teaching the law of attraction. And I am living at the beach here in California, living an absolute dream. My dream come true. And so I know that it's possible. I know that if I've been able to create this life, I've been able to create my own reality and live this life of my dreams, I know that you can too. So that's why I'm here, because you see, it wasn't always this way. If we look back even 10 years ago in 2013, I was a full-time elementary school teacher and had been for over 18 years. I was also a financial advisor. In 2010, I got fully licensed as a financial advisor because number one, I loved helping people. And number two, I wanted to learn about investments. And I figured that was the best way to get a well-rounded education and then be able to help my friends and family. And in 2013, I want to take us back to a particular day, January 12th, 2013. I was going to attend it was called a Warrior Heart Retreat. It was a one-day retreat in Santa Barbara. And I said yes to this retreat, even though I had never been to anything like this before, because you see, a few months earlier, my rock, my best friend, my mom passed away fairly quickly. Within 2 weeks of finding out she had cancer, she was gone. And so I know what it's like to watch a loved one take their last breath. And I also know what it's like in my past to go through bankruptcy. I know what it's like to go through divorce. I know what it's like to go through abandonment. I understand what it's like to struggle day to day. I understand overwhelmment and anxiety and panic attacks. Like, I've been through all of that in my life. And at this point, when my mom passed away, it truly was a defining moment because she was my best friend. And when your best friend passes away, it's like, well, who do I call when something's really great? Because if something great happened, I always called my mom. And if something bad happened, I always called my mom. Like, she was my go-to. It didn't matter what it was. And so I was going through this time in my life where the world was just upside down. I didn't know what to do. And I knew that my perspective was different, though. I knew that, like, I had changed when I saw her literally take her last breath. And so I said yes to this Warrior Heart retreat in 2013. And I'm at this retreat, and I'm going to refer to him as Coach. It's the easiest way. And the coach took us up to the foothills in Santa Barbara. And it was a beautiful day. And we get to this place and we all sit down, and he hands us a piece of paper. Now, this piece of paper looked like a football field. It had a goal post on each end, and it had these 10-yard increments with spaces in between for us to write and take notes. And so I said, put your date of birth over on the left-hand side. And then in each of one of these sections, we are supposed to take notes when he asked us these questions. He said, where are you living? Who are you living with? Who are your friends? What are some significant events? What brings you joy? And then he asked those questions from birth to age 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. And for me, I was 52 at the time. And so I asked those questions for each decade of our life. And we're taking notes, answering the questions. And then he said, look at your piece of paper. He said, review your life. And I was like looking at this piece of paper going, I saw this flash. And yes, there were business accomplishments, and there were personal accomplishments. There were school accomplishments. There was a marriage. There were 2 children. There was a divorce. There was another marriage. There was a career shift. But honestly, as I was looking at this piece of paper, I thought, oh my gosh, this cannot be my life. This is not why I'm here. Like, I'm here to do really big things. I'm here to do amazing things. I am here to make an impact in this world. I just knew it. And so when I looked at that paper, I'm like, this is mediocre. Like, this is average. This is normal. And I do not want to be here living a normal life or living a life of mediocrity. Are you kidding me? And I was looking at this, and all of those thoughts were in my mind within like seconds. And then it hit me. And I thought, what have I done with the last 52 years? And I felt this pain, and it was a surge of regret. And I'll never forget, because I started crying my eyes out, like huge, ugly crying tears. And they wouldn't stop for the longest time. And I'm not a usual crier, but I was letting it all go because I felt like it was too late. Like, oh my gosh, at 52, what can I do? Like, I've wasted my whole life. And so finally the tears stopped, and we hiked back down the foothill from the foothills. And then Coach takes us to the Santa Barbara Cemetery. Yes. Now, it's a beautiful cemetery. It has lush green grass that goes all the way to the cliff overlooking the beautiful Pacific Ocean. So we had our backs to the Pacific Ocean, and we're looking out at this cemetery. And you see all of these headstones. Some of them are big, some of them are small, some of them are as big as houses. This is Santa Barbara, right? And he said, a cemetery is a field of forgotten dreams. Think about it. The book's not written, the trip's not taken, the love not pursued. All of those regrets. And as he's speaking, I could almost visualize all of these regrets, all of these unwritten books under the grass. And then he said, what do all of these headstones have in common? And it's obvious, right? They all have a date, a dash, and a date. 2 dates and a dash. It didn't matter if it was a big headstone or a small one. And so then he said, you're living your dash right now. And then he looked at each one of us and he said, what are you going to do between right now and dead? And this time I didn't cry, but this time I felt like I had gotten punched in the stomach by a prize fighter. Like I literally could not take a breath because I did not want to die with regrets. I didn't want to be like everyone else. Like I knew there was something more in my life for me to do. There were big things for me to do. So in that moment that I couldn't take a breath, I made a decision. And I made a decision that I was not going to die with regrets, that I was going to have my eyes wide open and I was going to figure it out because I didn't know what the answers were. I did not know what life had in store for me. I didn't know. How was I going to make an impact? I didn't know, but I made a decision that day to figure it out. And I made a decision to study and read as much as I could, everything I could in personal development. How can I improve? How can I change? How can I transform? And so this personal development journey was born. My car became my classroom. I had an 1.5-hour commute every day, at least an 1.5 hours. So I would listen to audios. Back in the day, they were CDs, right? I was listening to all these books and learning. And my thought process, my mindset was completely changing, knowing that I had a lot more power than I ever thought possible. And so then I started listening to Bob Proctor and to Mary Morrissey. And now I started to learn even more about the law of attraction. And so I was studying and studying and studying. And at the same time, so that was 2013 when I made that decision. Well, in 2013, something else happened because I was also making some pretty smart business decisions. And in 2013, my income as a financial advisor increased by 10 times. In 2014, my income grew again. And by 2015, my income from my financial services practice was going to be equal to my full-time teaching salary. So that year, 2015, on my birthday, November 8th, 2015, I officially retired from teaching. Now, most people don't leave an education career in the middle of the year, but I did because I had my entrepreneurial career waiting for me. So sometimes it's not enough to follow the rules. Sometimes we need to make our own rules. And that's what I did. I let them know I'm going to leave teaching November 8th. Don't give me a classroom that year because I won't be there November 9th. And so I left, and now I'm working full-time from home as an entrepreneur. Dreams are coming true. My financial services business is growing. Things are growing great, right? Like I have all this freedom. But one thing I found out is that I'm a pretty tough boss. And so I kept having these goals that were very lofty. And I realized that, being an entrepreneur you're putting in a lot of work, which I didn't mind doing. I'm a hard worker. And so I was working hard. I was grinding. I was doing all the things I was supposed to do. And the business kept growing. But what I realized is, I don't know, this question kept coming up. Am I having fun yet? Like, isn't it supposed to be fun to own your own business? And I didn't see the fun. I saw the growth. I saw the hard work, but I didn't see the fun. I didn't see the joy. And so in 2017, then financial advisors, we had to pivot once again. We had to pivot because the Department of Labor tries to take over our industry. So I went from being a Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider, helping families, to now becoming trained as a retirement specialist. And I became what is known as a CPFA, Certified Plan Financial Advisor. And so now I want to be a 401k advisor, and that's all I want to do. I want to grow a big business. I want to hire 12 other advisors to work with me. And again, the business is growing. I'm busy, but I'm not really feeling that joy yet. But I started to get a little bit closer because as I was pivoting, I also knew that I needed a mindset shift. So I hired that coach again, the same coach that asked, what are you going to do between now and dead? And when I was working with him one day, he asked me, Beth, like, what do you really want? And I said, what do you mean, coach? This is what I want. I'm going to be the best 401k advisor in San Luis Obispo. And then he said, no, what do you really want? And you see, I thought this was my dream. I'm going to be the best 401k advisor in San Luis Obispo. He goes, no, look at it this way. It's 3 years from now. Use your imagination. It's 3 years from now. Money is not an object. You have everything you want, everything you need. Would you still be a financial advisor? And I said, yes, I want to be the best financial 401k advisor in San Luis Obispo. You see, I had been journaling that. I had been meditating on that, on and on and on. Like, that's all I wanted. But you see, something happened. So we get off the call. The next morning, I wake up. And do you ever have things happen like first thing in the morning? You wake up, you open your eyes, and I'm like, you have that moment? I had that moment. I was like, Beth, you lied to yourself. You lied to yourself. Like, no way. If money is not an object, would you still be setting up meetings, hiring advisors, hiring assistants, doing paperwork, marketing and selling, and all the work that goes into having your financial services business? And when I got honest with myself, the answer was, hell no. I would not be doing that. And what I realized is that really was a goal. But I had no idea what my dream was, so I kept going with it. That's all I knew. I kept working and working. And then a few months later, Coach had another exercise for us. And this exercise got me a little bit closer to who I really am. Because he said, we're going to go and develop our why. He said, what is your why? Why do you want to be a financial advisor? And then we were to write that down. And then whatever that answer is, so if I want to be a financial advisor to help educate people, then the question was, okay, well, why is educating people about their finances, why is that important? And then we had to answer that. Well, it's important to help people educate them about their finances so they don't get into debt or something like that. Okay, well, why is that important? Why is it important to educate people about finances so they don't go into debt? And so it went 10 times. But we didn't do it in a group. And I never suggest doing that in a group, because when you go 10 times and you ask yourself that question, why is that important, of your why? What happens is by the time you get to number 10, and this is what happened with me, is that I realized that goal, that dream I thought I had of being a 401k advisor was really surface level. But when I went 10 deep with why is it important, it had to do with my soul, and it had to do with my reason for me being on this planet. Now, I didn't know much more than that at the time, because I didn't understand about energy. I didn't understand that I was really not in vibrational alignment with my goal of being a financial advisor. Instead, it was very surface level. It wasn't really who I was. And so I kept working. Again, I didn't know what my dream was. You know, when he asked, what would you do 3 years from now? Money is not an object. And I said, yes, I still want to be a 401k advisor. But the next morning it was like, no. I had another moment where I was like, but what is that thing? If money is not an object 3 years from now, and I can do anything, like I want to be doing something fun. I want to be passionate about something. But back then, I had no idea what it was. But I thought, there is something out there that is fun, that I'm passionate about, that I want to do. And it's not for the money. It's because that's why I'm here. That's why I'm on this planet. So I decided to keep my eyes open. And I wasn't skeptical. I just didn't know what it was. So I kept working. I kept grinding. And my business was growing. And then in 2018, I did something I've never done before. Because remember, I'm looking for fun. I'm looking for joy. I'm like, this other business stuff isn't doing it. So one day, I sat down on a little step between my bedroom and my bathroom, and I had my phone with me, and I set my timer for 5 minutes. Because I was going to practice being silent. That's right. I was really good at being busy. I was really good at doing stuff, but I wasn't really good at being. So I thought, I'm going to sit here and practice being silent, just see if I can do it. And I set my timer for 5 minutes, and then I had another idea. Now I know it was my intuition. And I asked this question. I said, God, who am I? And I sat there for 5 minutes. And before the 5 minutes was up, a word, the best way I can explain it, dropped into my consciousness. God, who am I? And I heard the word gift. I thought, wow, that's cool. I wrote it down. And then I thought, well, that's fun. Like that doesn't have anything to do with financial services or business or work, but it was fun. So I'm going to do it again. So the next day I set my timer for 5 minutes and I did it again, practicing being silent, asking God, who am I? And I heard another word. I'm resilient. I'm special. I'm blessed. I'm a teacher. I'm spiritual. And every day for 90 days, I heard a word. And I started journaling these words and looking up their synonyms. Now this was really fun stuff. By the end of 2018, I now called it my meditation practice. I now was meditating and journaling on a daily basis. And honestly, those two things literally changed my life. And that's when I really got into going to now live events. I went to Bob Proctor live events. I went to Mary Morrissey live events. I'm still studying, but now I'm really understanding the law of attraction, and not understanding it only, but also learning how to apply it to my life. And once you do that, then things start to really happen. And so in 2019, amazing things started happening. I started my business, Thrive, Flourish, and Grow. Why? Because I understood how to teach the law of attraction. I had been teaching for my whole life practically. So I took information, I gathered it, I created a workshop, I called it A Journey to I Am. And people showed up. And it was so much fun. Now, I still had my full-time financial services business, but this was my fun, creative outlet. And I kept going with it, and I kept learning. As I kept teaching, I'm learning even more. So now 2020 hits. The world is turning upside down. And where am I? I'm in my guest room creating 49 videos for an online course that I call Live a Life You Love Now. Because you see, I had discovered the secret, the law of attraction. The secret is to be in joy in the present now, and to learn to love yourself unconditionally. And then the manifested things come into your reality. And so I was having a blast. I created my course, Live a Life You Love Now. I launched it in 2021. Also in 2020, like I said before, when you say yes to the universe, when you start to understand that you're a powerful spiritual being having a physical experience, amazing things happen. And things right now are happening fast in my life. So in 2021, not only did I launch that course, I met this beautiful woman from France who taught me everything she knew about energy work. She had been doing energy work for decades. I also created another course called Heal, which I gave online, and it was so much fun. And then 2022, I was instructed, do not create anything. You need to write your book, because I had been studying so much and doing so many exercises and reading so many books. My direction, my guidance said, you need to put it all into a book. Now, I had never really thought about writing a book, but I did. And it took me 6 months. So I did 2 things in 2022. One, I wrote a book from January to June. 2, I attracted the perfect person to sell my financial services business to. And I was under contract with her June of 2022. So many things are happening. I was planning my book launch. It has to go through the editing process. So a lot's going on in 2022 creatively. And then in 2023, this year, see, it's just happening so quickly. I launched my book, which is called Allow Life to Happen and Receive Everything You Desire. I also launched a journal to go with it, or a standalone, called Allow Life to Happen 129-Day Journal. I also officially was finished with financial services and had successfully sold my business as of July 6th of this year. I also trained for months with some of the best hypnotherapists in the world to become a certified hypnotherapist. So now I know. Now I understand energy. I understand how to create a life that you love. I understand how to create a reality that is pure, full of pure joy and bliss. It takes allowing life to happen. It takes allowing yourself to understand that you're not just a physical body. You're not here alone. You also are spiritual. You have a soul. And that's what I learned by tapping into, starting with that silent practice. I started to understand that it's not just me. I'm not alone. I have a soul. I have spiritual guidance. There's infinite intelligence everywhere. And I learned how to tap into that. And so that's why I'm so excited, because you see, over the last 3 years, since I really started creating and developing and saying yes to the universe and allowing life to happen, I've been blessed. Not only did the universe provide me with all of these opportunities and people to expand my life, but I was also blessed with financial prosperity. And so I know that you can benefit from learning about the law of attraction and how to apply it into your life, because I've lived it, and I know that if I can do it, you can do it as well. Because remember, I've been there. Yes, I know what it is like to struggle. I know what it's like to be sad, lonely, having to go through all those things. But I also know now that we are vibrational beings. We can make decisions. We can tap into who we really are, and we can decide to live a life in joy. So I wanted to share with you today a little bit more about me. And I hope that you continue to listen and to be guided. And I'm very intentional with my words because words are energy. And I want my message to bring something up for you that is a message to guide you. So as you were listening to some of these questions that Coach asked me, then I would encourage you to ask yourself these questions. What are you going to do between now and dead? And what would you do if money were not an object and you could do anything? What are you truly passionate about? What are your gifts that you want to bring to the world? Because you see, your dreams can come true. You can be, do, or have anything. And I want to be here week after week, inspiring you and encouraging you along the way. So please subscribe below for additional content. I can't wait to talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Don't miss out on any of our exclusive content. Subscribe to our channel now.